Coach, you mentioned the first 15 or 16 games have been against postseason opponents.
Yes.
How much do you appreciate having a schedule that is as daunting as that? And with your younger players, your freshmen in particular, how well do you think they'll perform knowing that that's the challenge?
Well, softball, as far as we've come on TV, there's some things that we're still kind of really far behind on. One of them is scheduling. So we still create our own schedules, and a lot of times you just sign up for tournaments, and then who goes, goes. And so I wasn't really expecting this daunting of a task, you know. And then for ESPN, for this to be the first women's event they owned, and they put it together late, we weren't expecting as many quality opponents as we're going to be there. I mean, we'll be playing Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon, Utah, Hofstra, and JMU, and so we weren't expecting that. With that said, to answer your question, if we were going to do it, this is the year. We have an outstanding senior class. Our junior class is also very good, very seasoned. And while we have a very big freshman class, I think they add a lot to us. We have 2 really strong pitchers in that class, but more importantly, we have a ton of speed, which we've had more and more speed every year, but this year is kind of a difference for us. We have a lot of left-handed hitting now. We have a lot of people we can insert in there to give us the boost that we need. So if we were going to have that type of schedule, I think now is the time for it.
What's the one thing you feel your team has to improve on this year the most?
And speaking on improvements, I know your all's SEC record last year was below 500, so looking specifically at conference opponents, what do you all need to do to make sure that you get to where you need to be in terms of being competitive in the SEC?
Well, the SEC is a really interesting league because Vandy does not have a softball team. It's an unbalanced schedule, so you're really at the mercy of the schedule you get. So you could, in theory, be 8th in the SEC and 12th in the country. And so that's kind of, last year we were given one of those heavier schedules. We did not play one team that was below us last year. We had the #1 strength of schedule in the country. And so I think a lot of that was because our SEC schedule was so powerful. With that said, obviously one of our goals this year is to be a lot stronger in the SEC, and a lot of that's going to have to do with, can we continue with the dominant offensive performances we have? Because at some point, I mean, the collective ERA of the pitchers that we had to face last year was well under a 2. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was crazy. So if our offense can continue to do what it did, and if our pitching staff that was so young last year, I mean, we brought in Grace Ballman was a freshman when she stepped on the field, and Autumn Humes was a transfer from Division II at this point in time. Now they're both experienced, they're both seasoned, and then when we combine them with the rest of our staff, I believe that we will have a complete team that'll be able to hit it hard game 1.
All 4 of the players we talked to almost verbatim said the exact same thing, that they were 3 games away, then 2 games away, then 1 game away. How much of that is a message from you that you're kind of saying, we're so close, let's try to break through this year?
Well, one of the cool things about Kentucky is we've been knocking on that door now for a really long time. I mean, I don't even know how many times we've been in supers in the last 6 years, 5 out of 6, I think it is, something like that. So we're there. With that said, with this class in particular, it's such a cool class because they had to come in and add support when, you know, they don't have a pitcher in their class. It just worked out that way, and they had to figure out how to do things on their own. 3 of them have started since their freshman year. 2 of our other seniors have done just an outstanding job since then. I think it's not so much the message from me, it's the message from the program. I think the program expectation is to win, and to win at a really high level. And then, of course, when you're from the University of Kentucky and part of the Big Blue Nation, you're looking to go to the Women's College World Series. You're looking for national champions. And so that's what we're striving to do. That's also a reason why we have such a tough schedule. To be the best, we have to play the best, and we have to win. And so I think that, you know, that's the message that the alumni and the fan base and everybody puts down, and I think they've just fully embraced it. These are people that are awesome Wildcats, and we're so proud that they've come through our program.
Your coach always says that good pitching would be good hitting. Can you speak a little bit more in detail about your pitching staff and how great they are and what might need to be improved upon?
Well, I love our pitching staff because they're so diverse. I think that, you know, you have Autumn Humes and Larissa Spellman, who are our oldest ones, and it was really cool. Yesterday, Larissa threw a no-hitter on our scrimmage, which is the first time I'd seen her do that, so that's great. You have Autumn, who's a tad bit, she's She's a tad bit crazy, so she's just crazy enough to be a really good pitcher. But she's really down to earth and also just such a good teammate. She has great moving stuff. She can move the ball, down, up. She can change speeds, so she really gives a good mix. Of course, you have Grace Ballman, who is, by the way, getting better with the media, thank God. But she is outstanding on the mound. She does such a good job. Also can move the ball around. She's gotten a lot more power. This year, last fall she was throwing consistently in the low 60s. Now she's throwing consistently in the mid to upper 60s, which really is a testament to the amount of work that she's done. We also have our hardest ever throwing freshman come in this year in Megan Shorman. Yesterday in the scrimmage, she was bringing it 65, 66, up to 68, which is great. She's been working on mixing speeds and can really spin the ball. And then we have this other crazy lefty. Her name is Tatum Spangler, who, she is the nicest human being in the world. And then I was like, Tatum, you just can't be so nice. And she's still nice, but she's figured out not to be so nice on the softball field. And she has gained about 4 miles an hour, and her stuff's moving all over the place. Unfortunately, she's not controlling it as well as she could right now, but with her work ethic, I assume that within the next couple weeks, she'll be pretty good.
You were pretty transparent last year about your offense needing to improve to take a next step. Have you seen that be sustained, and what's maybe is speed a part of the next step in that?
Yeah, I have seen it sustained. I think one of the things we totally changed our approach, and I got to give a lot of credit to my coaching staff there, with Christine Hines and Molly Belcher. They did a really good job, and we changed how we went about things. We tried to simplify our offense and simplify their approach in their box, and we ended up working more on approach than we did on mechanics. That made a big difference. So we went from 172 offense in the country, which is horrible. Like, how do you go to a super regionals with that kind of offense, right? I'm still, that shows you how good our pitching was at that time. And then we moved down to, was it 36? 32. It was a huge, huge jump. So obviously the goal is to be in the top 10 in scoring this year. They've sustained the approach part, and I think a lot of that has to do with their maturity as individuals. I think they're so smart and they're so coachable. And I think they've done a great job with that. I think that the key now is, number one, they've had a full year under their belt with that approach. And then, yes, I believe to add more left-handed hitting in the lineup and more speed in the lineup is what's helped, and that's what our freshman class has brought us. They are so fast, and they are mostly left-handed. I think we only have 2 right-handed in the group, and they're both middle infielders, so they're pretty quick too. So anyway, I feel confident, once they get a little game experience. Now their eyes are going to be like this when they see the schedule, but hopefully they'll learn quickly, and they're very bright. So I feel good about where they're at.